All right, let's jump right in. Today we are tackling an absolute pillar of the Series 7 exam, Function 2. This is all about opening accounts, really getting to know your client and making sure your recommendations are suitable. You know, if you can master this section, you are building a massive foundation for passing this thing. And this isn't just some abstract theory, we're talking about points on the board. You can expect to see around 11 questions from this section on your exam. Every single one is a point you can get if you know what to look for, so let's make sure you're ready.
So here's our game plan. We're going to start with the absolute fundamentals, account types, and suitability. Then we'll dive into the modern rules of the road with Reg BI and Form CRS. We'll cover your duties to protect vulnerable clients, tackle those tricky high-frequency trading rules, and then we'll look ahead to what FINRA is flagging for 2025 to give you an edge. And of course, we'll wrap it all up with a rapid-fire cram session. Let's do this.
Okay, first things first. Before you can even think about recommending a stock or a bond, you have to nail the basics. Who is your client? What's the right legal setup for their assets? Seriously, if you get this part wrong, nothing else matters. Let's hit a classic exam question right out of the gate, JTWROS versus TIC. The test is always going to ask you about what happens when one of the owners dies. With joint tenants with rights of survivorship, or JTWROS, the deceased share automatically passes to the surviving owner. It totally bypasses the will and probate. Just think survivorship. Now for tenants in common, or TIC, the deceased share goes directly to their estate to be handled by the will. The test wants you to know exactly where that money goes. Now, let's talk about the heart of any recommendation, the three-part suitability rule. I want you to think of it like a pyramid. At the very bottom, the foundation, is reasonable basis. Is this investment okay for at least some investors out there? Next level up is customer specific. Okay, but is it right for this specific client sitting in front of me? And at the very top is quantitative suitability. Are you trading so much that it's becoming excessive or, just churning the account? You have to satisfy all three. If one fails, the whole pyramid comes crashing down.
Okay, so now that we have that foundation, let's build on it with regulation best interest, or as you'll always hear it, Reg BI. This is the modern standard of conduct, and it is a huge focus on the exam. It really raises the bar way beyond just simple suitability.
Reg BI is built on 4 pillars that you absolutely positively have to memorize. First, the care obligation. You got to understand the product, the customer, and this is critical, consider the costs and any reasonably available alternatives. Then there's disclosure, full and fair disclosure of all the important facts. Then, conflict of interest. You have to identify conflicts, tell the client about them, and then mitigate or even eliminate them. And finally, compliance. Your firm has to have policies and procedures to make sure all this actually happens, and trust me, these are not suggestions, they are mandates. And check this out. This is a direct quote from FINRA's latest oversight report. It perfectly shows where firms are dropping the ball. That care obligation isn't passive. The exam is going to test you on this. You have an active duty to go out and compare the costs of what you're recommending against other options. Just picking the one that pays you the highest commission, that's a textbook violation. So how do you explain all this to a new client? Well, that's what Form CRS is for. Think of it like the cover letter for your entire professional relationship. The test is going to hit you on 2 key things here. 1, it has to be delivered upfront, before or at the time you open the account. And 2, it has to be prominent. You can't bury it. FINRA has specifically called out firms for hiding the link in an email footer, so you got to know it has to be clear, obvious, and accessible. Next up, an area that's getting more and more attention from regulators, your duty to protect vulnerable clients, especially seniors, from financial exploitation. This is a huge deal on the exam and, frankly, an even bigger deal in the real world. FINRA Rule 2165 is your key tool here. What it does is it allows your firm to put a temporary hold on sending out money or securities if there's a reasonable belief that someone's trying to take advantage of your client. A specified adult is anyone 65 or older, or anyone over 18 who has a known mental or physical impairment. What the exam wants you to know is that you have the power and the responsibility to raise a red flag, and your firm can actually step in to protect the client. All right, let's shift gears completely and talk about clients on the other end of the spectrum, the ones who trade a lot. The rules here are super specific and very, very testable. Burn this number into your brain. $25,000. To be classified as a pattern day trader, and that's someone who makes 4 or more day trades in a 5-business-day window, a client has to maintain at least $25,000 in equity. If they drop below that, boom, their day trading buying power is frozen. It's a hard and fast rule, and you can bet the exam will ask about it. Okay, to really give you an edge, let's look at where things are headed. FINRA's 2025 Oversight Report highlights the new risks they're focusing on, and you better believe the exam questions are right behind them.
Here's what's on the radar. With crypto, you must draw a bright line between the regulated products your firm sells and any unregulated crypto assets. Using AI? An email generated by AI gets the same level of supervision as one you typed yourself. Extended hours trading? You have to disclose the unique risks like lower liquidity. And using outside vendors? Your firm's duty to supervise doesn't just disappear. The theme here is simple, right? New technology doesn't get you a pass on the old rules.
Whew, we have covered a ton of ground. Now it's time to sharpen the pencil and really lock this all in with a quick cram session. Ready?
These are pure memorization points. They're perfect for those one-off questions. Regulation SP, privacy notices, at account opening, and then annually. A discretionary order is when you're missing one of the 3 A's, asset, amount, or action. A complaint only counts if it's in writing. You have to send updated account info every 36 months, and yes, a military P.O. box is a totally acceptable address. Know these cold. Let's try one. A married couple wants their assets to pass directly to the survivor, and they want to avoid probate. What do you recommend? Well, what are the key words? Pass directly to the survivor. That's your clue. It points you straight to C, joint tenants with rights of survivorship.
Okay, next up. Under Reg BI's care obligation, what does a rep have to consider? Select all that apply. Remember those pillars? Your potential commission? No, that's a conflict of interest. That's a different pillar. So the correct answers are B, C, and D. You absolutely have to consider the costs, look at reasonably available alternatives, and of course, everything has to be based on the customer's investment profile.
And I want to leave you with one final thought here. After all these rules, all these regulations, what is the single most important factor in all of this? It's your client's investment profile. Every single rule we talked about today, Reg BI, JTWROS, protecting vulnerable adults, risk disclosures, it all comes back to one thing, knowing your customer. If you make that your North Star, you won't just pass this section of the exam, you'll be a great representative. Master that, and you've got this. Good luck.